probably heard it a few too many times, the constant refrain from kids of, "I'm bored." But boredom isn't necessarily a bad thing. In fact, it can teach kids some valuable skills. Joining us this morning, Jessica Bursloff, licensed marriage and family therapist. Good morning, Jessica. Thanks for being with us.
Good morning. Thanks for having me.
So you and I both have kids, so I don't even have to ask if you've heard this. I know that we've both heard this probably too many times to count. So what do we do, and why is boredom, sometimes a good thing for kids?
Well, boredom actually stimulates creativity, and it encourages flexibility, and it actually helps support kids in what we call executive functioning, which is really important, especially to build those skills early when kids are little. And when I say executive functioning, what I really mean is things like planning and knowing how to sequence different steps in a project, for example, how to organize your time, and all of those things can be learned with a little bit of boredom as a motivation.
We're in the time of Pinterest, and everything is just so beautifully curated. You feel like you're failing as a parent if you don't have like these beautiful, lengthy art projects and baking projects and stuff for them to do planned out. But I guess you kind of have to resist that urge as a parent because of what they can learn from it.
Right. And I mean, hey, if you're into that, that's awesome. But let's be realistic. You can't do that all the time.
No,
There's going to be times, especially now when it's 111 outside, that you've got to let the kids just figure it out. If you need a break or you have to get a task accomplished. As an example, yesterday, while I was working on preparing for this presentation, my 6-year-old was, I'm bored. So I told him, just figure something out. And he actually ended up creating a whole scavenger hunt for me to do when I was done with my work, and it kept him busy for a good 20 or 30 minutes.
I love it.
And yeah, I was like, well, this is great. I'm gonna have to talk about this tomorrow.
Absolutely.
It worked out great.
So do we just kind of let them figure it out on their own? Do you kind of guide them in some directions? What are some strategies?
So it really depends on, of course, your child and the age. Some ideas are create with your child ahead of time, like set yourself up for success, right? So brainstorm a list of activities that both that you feel comfortable with, but that your kid also likes, and have it up in the house somewhere. So when they start bugging you about being bored, you can just point to the list, right? The menu, perhaps. If you have littler kids that can't read yet, make sure you include pictures so that they can understand. But that way you're front loading some of the work, right? And you're not having to create on the fly. Also, just keeping art materials and, baking stuff, if that's what they're into, things like that at their level so that they can get into it and they're not bugging you to come, hey, can you get this for me? Or where's the tape? Or where's this, that it's all in one spot. And sometimes they're going to need help knowing where to start. Like yesterday with my son, and I told him, what about doing a scavenger hunt for me? And he went with it, but he needed some help getting started. So I was able to kind of help get him going, but then he took it from there. So sometimes your kids might need help getting started, but then letting them, being very short with it, like, here's what you do, and mommy will be ready in 30 minutes. Giving them a very concrete time frame can help as well.
Yeah, and talking about that time frame, the younger they are, of course, the more time you're going to have to devote and intervene and maybe redirect. But the older they get, the better they're going to get with this. And of course, practice is going to help them throughout this and later on in life. All right, Jessica, thanks for being with us again this morning. We appreciate it. I'm going to try some of these later on.
Thanks so much. Bye-bye.
We'll be right back.